Díolí Fad and welcome to the Curious Mind Science Show. Tá show the Chreta agin Chluibinne and it's all to celebrate Science Week 2024. This year's theme is regeneration, and we're going to be looking at all the different ways this happens, from protecting nature, where energy comes from, and even recycling our old pants. Agus Thomas Hossasa will shipsha ar fad a Gráinne. We're going to do a few shout outs now. So we have Ballyno National School in Cork, Orkir National School in Sligo, St David's National School in Donegal, Real Namara Donnycarney Girls' School in Meath, and Kilglass National School in Hasker County, Galway. Bonigi Salt Asin Show Agus Gurmad Asafta Ling. So now we're going to have some amazing guests on the show today, and to kick it all off, we're going to head over to Explorium to my pal Mark. How are you, Mark? How are you getting on? Happy Science Week!
Thanks, Gráinne, and happy Science Week to you too. And happy Science Week to everyone else. Welcome, guys, to Explorium with me, Mark the Science Guy, where I'm going to get you guys warmed up and ready for an awesome week of incredible science. Because we all know how important warming up is, whether you're going to school or going to space. And some of you may know that I am a physicist. That's someone who studied physics, all about the stars, planets, and galaxies, and everything in the entire universe. But I was also a professional footballer, so I know the importance of warming up correctly in order to perform your best. So this week, you're going to perform your best. Let's get you guys warm and ready to be curious, ask questions, seek answers, and have fun doing it. So guys, I think we gotta go. And teachers, you gotta join in too. Students, if there's no teachers participating, you can report them at your next parent-teacher meeting. Okay, let's go. And everyone, you can participate in these exercises however you wish and what's most comfortable for you. If you want to stand up, you can. You can also stay seated at your desk. Whatever's most comfortable for you. Just have fun. Okay, let's start off with breathing. I want everyone to take a huge breath in and bring your arms up. Get a big stretch. Take a big breath in. Hold it there, and arms down, breathe out. Breathing's a great way to get oxygen to your brain and your muscles, and it keeps you nice and calm. Breathe in, arms up, big stretch. Hold the breath, and breathe out again. One more time, breathe in. Big one, the biggest one you got, and breathe out. Excellent. That keeps you nice and calm and prepares you for your exercise. So now let's start testing our body and our reactions. When I raise my right hand, I want you guys to shout science. When I raise my left hand, I want you to shout weak. Okay, say it with me. Ready? Science, weak. Science, weak. That's it. Use that voice. Breathe. Focus. I can hear absolute mayhem around the country. It is Science Week. Science Week. Science Week. Okay, I can hear voices from here. Teachers, I apologize for all this screaming across the country, but we're ready. Let's raise the intensity. I think we're ready to go. You guys have heard of Simon Says. Well, Simon's retired now, so this is Science Guy Says. Okay, everyone, shake it all out, get ready. Science Guy Says, hands in the air. Science Guy Says, hands down. Science Guy Says, hands in the air. Science Guy Says, wave them to side like you just don't care. Science Guy Says, hands down. Look left. Oh, I got a few of yous there. You gotta be paying attention. Science Guy Says, look up. Science Guy Says, look down. Science Guy Says, touch your knees, touch your toes. I'm watching you guys, teachers. Don't let them away with it. Science Guy Says, left hand in the air. Science Guy Says, right hand in the air. Science Guy Says, hands down. Let's get jiggy with it. Science Guy Says, do the Macarena. All right, don't pretend like you don't know what it is. I know you all secretly want to do it. Teachers, I'm looking at you too. Science Guy Says, floss. Even if Science Guy didn't say floss, you should always, in all circumstances, floss. Last ones, and that's enough of that. I think you guys are ready to take on the week. As you know, physical exercise is important for all of us. It keeps the body and mind healthy. And there's lots of different types of exercises you can do. So pick ones you're comfortable with and ones you enjoy, because staying fit and healthy is important for our bodies to recover and regenerate, whether you're going to school or going to space. That's what Mission X, Train Like an Astronaut, is all about. It's a program that I'm involved in, combining physical activities and scientific investigations that you can sign up to do, register your activity, and spice up your PE classes. You can find out more information in the description below. But for now, I hope everyone has a fantastic Science Week. Back to you, Gráinne.
Pagalor fun you've aminit. I'm ready for anything. Thanks so much, Mark. That was brilliant. So now it's time to hear from you. To celebrate 20 years of the Curious Minds programme, you have sent in some questions to us. And this one is from Glen National School. How do spaceships stay on the surface of planets when there's no gravity? That is a brilliant question. And I wonder who the best person is to answer this. How about an actual astronaut? But I think we should make this a little bit tricky for them. Shall we give them about 30 seconds to answer it? Yeah. Let's go over to Katie Coleman, who was a NASA astronaut and has been to space.
That is a very excellent question. And in fact, they don't. And so you're right to ask that. If you're going to end up on a planet that doesn't have gravity, in order to stay there, you have to have already perhaps installed a way, like almost like a landing pad that could hold it down, maybe by magnets, maybe by sort of bolts that catch it. But I'm glad you're thinking ahead to what happens after you land.
Thank you, Katie. Agus tá go leor question the fós le fragart. But first, we're going to have a chat with Tanya Callis from Research Ireland. Fall to Tanya and happy Science Week.
Happy Science Week. It's my favourite week. I'm delighted to be here.
So go on, what are you looking forward to most this week?
Oh gosh, we've got thousands of events happening all across the country this week. I think what I'm personally looking forward to most is seeing the science activities actually happening in the classrooms.
And so for those of us who don't know and anyone who's watching, what is Curious Minds?
So Curious Minds supports primary schools with their science education. So we have an awards programme, we've got teacher training, we've got a network of discovery centres that schools can visit on school trips. So there's the zoos and museums. And we also have loads of really fun experiments that they can do, and they're all on our website as well.
Brilliant. And even watching today goes towards the awards. So make sure you take plenty of pictures, am I right?
Yes, absolutely. All of your Science Week activities goes towards the awards this year.
Brilliant. So where can people find out about what's happening during Science Week?
So you can find all of the information at scienceweek.ie, and we even have an activity pack for primary schools this year.
Brilliant. And I have a very important question for you. What is your favourite thing about science?
Oh my gosh, I think my favourite thing about science is that journey of discovery. So I think people by nature are extremely curious about the world around us, and science, it really fuels that curiosity through questioning, problem solving, exploring. So it's that journey of discovery that I find so exciting and rewarding.
That is fantastic, Tanya. Thank you so much for being with us today, and please enjoy the rest of the week. I'm sure you will. So now we're going to head over to Nuala Madigan, who's been building something very special for us for Science Week in Ticknevin. Fecha Géirsha.
Hello everybody, we're here today in St Bridget's National School, Ticknevin, County Kildare, and we're here to build a new feature within our school garden, a pond. Ponds are wetlands and they're really important for biodiversity. Mammals, birds and even mini beasties and a whole host of wetland plants love to live in water. So let's go and find out what our pond is going to turn out like. Today we're going to build our school garden pond. So we're going to be using this sand pit. And you might kind of say to yourselves, well, why do we want to build a school pond? Well, school ponds are great because they're really important for biodiversity. So with our sand pit here in the garden, we're going to be using these logs. These are going to create a lovely little habitat around it. We're going to be using stones over here, ideal to put in the bottom of our pond. And we're going to be using some mosses and leaves to decorate up the edge of the pond and to create a lovely, maybe a hibernation ground at the edges of the pond for our wildlife. That's looking great, everybody. What's missing in our pond? Water! There's water missing, and we're missing some pond plants. So what we're going to do is let's go and plant up some wetland plants that we can put in our pond. This is our school water bud. Over the past few months, it's been collecting rainwater. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this water to fill our school garden pond. Okay, everybody, now that our school garden pond is filled with water, let's add some biodiversity. I've put a stone in the bottom of my pot to weigh it down into our water. We've got our wetland plant here, a lovely iris. We're going to sit that into our pot. And boys, do you want to help me put the compost in? Now that our plant is almost 3/4 full, what we're going to do is we're going to finish off by putting some stones in the top. The purpose for this is to make sure our plant doesn't go floating to the surface of the water. So can you help me with that as well?
Yeah, I got this.
And there we go. We've got our first plant ready to put into our pond. So what can you expect to find making their way into your pond in the coming months? Well, let's have a look at this guy here. This is a great diving beetle. What about these guys that you might find over the coming months? The greater water boatman, also called the back swimmers. 2 big long legs like the oars on a rowing boat. And over here, oh, there we go. We've got our newt. Oh, I'll put him back in the water. Our newt is one of our amphibian friends. And these, of course, might hibernate in the logs around the edge of the pond. And in next May time, they might actually even lay eggs in your pond in your school because their babies live underwater. Boys and girls, your new school pond is soon going to be a haven for biodiversity. We just have to give it a little bit of time. Ponds are a great way to attract new biodiversity into our school garden. Why not build one in your school garden this year?
Máisib ar fad. I'll have to go check out that pond next spring to see how it's getting on. And actually, we've had a question in relation to Ireland's biodiversity and newts. So Tágan and Kesha way Lily from Summerhill, who asked, how can newts regrow their body parts? Well, that is a brilliant question. And we have just the person to answer it. Aideen McAdams from Trinity College. Are you ready, Aideen?
I'm ready, Gráinne. And thanks for the question, Lily. When a newt loses a limb, like a leg, its body quickly closes up the wound. But unlike people, it doesn't form a scar. Instead, once the wound is closed, the cells around it start to change into special cells called stem cells. These stem cells are like building blocks, and they can turn into any kind of cell the newt needs, like bone, muscle, or skin cells. These special cells gather together into a clump called a blastema, which is like a construction site where all the work happens to build the new leg. As this construction site like blastema grows, the stem cells start to turn into specific cells needed for the newt to rebuild the leg, like bone, muscle, or skin. They can even grow new nerves so the leg can feel and move just like the old one. This whole process takes only a few weeks, but once complete, the newt has a brand new leg that moves and functions like the old one. And scientists are extremely interested in how newts can do this, so we can hopefully heal our injuries better in the future.
Wow, being a newt sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? So now we're going to answer some questions about weather, and we thought we'd have a little bit of fun with this. Féach seo.
I'm curious about how lightning is formed.
And now we're joined by Cian O'Toole from Trinity College Dublin. Ceach bhfuil tú, Cian?
Tom Gahinta Gráinne.
Iontach tá sé iontach chu an teáling inne. So we have some weather-related questions for you, and you're an expert on this. So we are going to start with the one that we just had there. Why does lightning happen?
So Gráinne, in order for lightning to happen, we need clouds. But what are clouds made of? Clouds are made of lots and lots of little water molecules up in the sky. A lot like this balloon here. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to use you as a prop now, Gráinne. So if you take this to be one water molecule and Gráinne's head to be another water molecule, I'll show you what happens up in the clouds for lightning. So if you could rub this against your hair.
On my hair? Okay.
Just for another minute or two, we'll be able to explain to you how lightning happens. So as these two water molecules are rubbing against each other, much like when you rub your hands together and your hands get warmer, they're exchanging energy with each other. The balloon is getting lots of positive charge, electric charge, and Gráinne's head is getting lots of negative charge. So what you should see here, if Gráinne takes it away a tiny bit, is a bit of static electricity. Her hair should stand up like this.
Is it working?
It is.
Hey!
What happens in a cloud is all this static electricity builds up and eventually sparks and hits the ground. So this is a slightly less dramatic version than lightning, but you can see the static electricity in action.
I can see it, yeah. That is cool, but you've ruined my hair, Kean.
I'm sorry, Gráinne.
That was really cool. Thank you so much. I will give you that.
Thank you for my water molecule.
So now we have another question for you. And the question is, how do tornadoes work? So I know some of you have been doing this in class already as part of Science Week, or you may be doing it along with us now. So Kean, tornadoes.
Right, Gráinne. So the way tornadoes happen is you need wind coming from two directions. You need cold wind and hot wind. And when these winds hit each other, hot air rises. So when that hot air rises, it goes straight into the storm where it's cold, where the clouds are, and that cold air then descends again. So when that happens, you get a loop happening, a circular motion, and when the winds get strong enough, that can go vertical and you've got a tornado.
Hey.
Now, we can try one here as well. Yes. So to do a tornado in a bottle at home, you need a few things.
Let's do it. Okay.
You need two 2-litre bottles, one empty and one about 3/4 full.
Mm-hmm.
You need some tape to tape them together. And you need some food colouring.
Simples. Okay.
So all you have to do is put it together like this, tape it together, and then turn it upside down. But that'll take a while. So here's some we prepared earlier.
I like it. Okay. Oh, it's going to get messy.
Very messy. So we've got two here, one for me and one for you, Gráinne.
Okay.
So now on the count of 3, we'll turn these upside down and I'll be able to show you the tornado in the bottle. 3, 2, 1.
Hey.
So you can see here, we've got a vortex, like a tornado here. And the reason it goes so much quicker than Gráinne's here is you can see there's a direct tunnel of air from top to bottom, whereas Gráinne's here is bubbling the whole time. And that's why it's so much quicker. Now, Gráinne, would you like to give it a...
Yeah, I want to try your way. Ready?
Ready. 3, 2, 1.
And then spin it around like this.
Perfect. And we got another little tornado.
Look at it go. Oh, give it a go again.
Bubbly tornado. Oh, wow, that's a big one.
Oh, that one's impressive. That is so cool. Kean, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
And if you want to try this out in the classroom, the link to this resource is in the description below. Let's get rid of these, so. Now we have another question, and this question is from Balnakill Mixed National School in Laois.
I'm curious to know how life began on Earth.
So to answer that question, we need to think about what Earth was like millions of years ago. It was bare rock, lots of volcanoes erupting, and some water. And in that water, we think existed the building blocks of life. These are molecules and chemicals that are needed to make the first cell, but they hadn't come together yet to make it. So if you think of Lego that might be in your house, it's there, but it doesn't make anything until you come along. So what brought the first cell together? Well, this is where we disagree as scientists. There are a couple of different ideas. Some people think that lightning may have struck a shallow pool of water, and that energy from the lightning strike may have brought those components together to make the first cell. Other people think life may have started in geothermal vents, which are huge volcanoes that are erupting constantly under the water. And that movement and that energy from the eruptions may have brought everything together to make the first cell. But the most important thing of that first cell was that it had an ability to divide. It could make copies of itself. So one cell became 2, 4, 8, and so on. And life began.
Maybe one of you will find the answer to that when you grow up to be scientists someday. There is still so much to discover. Speaking of discovering, I was down in Airfield Estate earlier and I met my friend Aveen, and she showed me how I could recycle my old underwear. Who knew you could do that? Here I am in the lovely Airfield Estate, but I'm looking for my friend Aveen because she has something that belongs to me. Where? Oh, Aveen, there you are!
Hi, Gráinne.
So I have a big question for you. Where have you buried my underwear?
Come on till I show you. I have a real surprise for you.
Come on, then. So Aveen, tell me, what kind of animals do you have here?
And we have a lovely herd of Jersey cows, we have sheep, we have donkeys, we have 120 hens.
120 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we buried your pants somewhere along here in this field, but I just can't for the life of me remember where.
Okay, let's have a look. So here we are in this field, but where did we bury my underwear?
Well, it was 2 months ago, so I'm not sure if I can really remember, but we'll get digging and we'll find them.
Okay, let's get going, so. you seen my underwear? That's a no. I can't find my underwear anywhere. Oh yeah. Mira, any chance you've seen a pair of underwear around here anywhere? Nothing? All right.
Fantastic. Unreal.
So, what do we do now?
Well, now we have to get digging.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Look at that. Those are your underpants.
Oh, can I pull them out?
You can, of course.
Do I want
That's all that's left of them. The worms have been having a snack.
Don't think I'm going to be wearing these again. So, Evie, we finally found my underwear, but why did we bury them?
So the reason we buried them is that we wanted to find out how healthy our soil is. And believe it or not, underpants are actually a really good way of doing that.
Oh.
So before we buried your underpants, they looked like this.
Yeah.
So they were all whole and they're made of cotton. And cotton is an organic material. So that means that worms and all the microorganisms, all the creepy crawlies that are living in the soil, love to snack on organic materials like cotton
Mad.
and break them down like this. So we buried your pants for 2 months. And then they look like this at the end of it.
Yes, and it's the elastic that's left, isn't it?
Yeah, so the worms don't like the elastic because it's not an organic material, so they'll leave that behind. So if your pants look like this and only the elastic is left, it's actually an indicator that your soil is really healthy. So we were delighted to see this.
Wow, so you have very healthy soil in Airfield
We do.
Estate. So what's in here? So
in here, you might find some worms. So we've got a little worm here. We'll be gentle when we're picking them up. So worms are so important for soil health. We call them the soil engineers, and they'll snack on things like leaves or organic material like your cotton pants, and then they'll break it down and all the nutrients that are in it, and then they'll poo it back out. And worm poo is so, so important to our soil.
wow, so your poo is like gold dust. Good job.
It really
That's
is.
amazing.
Without worm poo, we would have no food to eat.
There you go. That is amazing. Aoibhinn Gur Mila Mila Mahas. That was fascinating altogether. And if you guys want to bury your underwear and learn how to recycle them, go to the link below and see all the information there. So now we're going to the final experiment. We're going to Phil and 2nd, 3rd and 4th class in St. Bridget's National School. So Phil, are you ready?
I am here, yes. Hello, it's great to be here and nice to see you, Gráinne. How are you getting on?
Clemente Ianta, how have you been getting on?
Great, it's Science Week. I mean, why would we not be happy? Are you having fun? Yeah. It's going great, we love it. It's been a fantastic show and a great day. Looking forward to everything that's coming next.
So I hear you have an experiment for us to do with sound, am I right?
Yes, I am. Okay, I'll make one up. Yes, so sound is around us. Everybody likes sound, music. It's a vibration, and like as everything can be regenerated and moved, sound can be transformed from one form to another. It goes through different things, mediums. You produce it, so if you put your hands on your throat and you make a sound like a ah, you can feel the vibration. And if you make different sounds like ooh, ee, ah, the vibration here sounds different. And even you can make humming noises, like a nice lovely. Interesting fact, if you hum and then pinch your nose, you'll stop humming. You can't. Try it, look. And your ears kind of get that. Thing is good. You're welcome. We also have other experiments that we could try with stuff in the room that we have. You could try this at home yourselves. Are you ready to get to the tables? Right. Welcome to our experiment. It's going to be a little bit of a sound one where we're going to regenerate some energy and change it into one form of another. So, all of you in front of you have little bowls. We have lots of bits on top, things on top. They're hundreds and thousands. They're not edible. They're out of date. Don't eat them. I didn't eat them on the way down. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. However, I was hungry. Anyway, what we're going to try and do is if we create a vibration by humming, don't hum yet. We hum, it'll cause a vibration through the air, a longitudinal wave, one that's pushing back and forth as opposed to just up and down. back and forward, and it should hit the cling film that we've taken from sandwich bags that we've collected and reused, and it should vibrate, and they should dance on top of this. Are you ready to try? So it's kind of a humming noise about here, and you could try this yourself at home or in classes or anything else, and see if you can make it dance. You ready to go? You go 3, 2, 1, hum. And they dance. Don't blow on them. They just go over. And stop. Beautiful. So there you are, Gráinne. Happy at your impressive sound experiment? I think we've done a good job.
Well, that looks like so much fun. But Phil, you did promise us something a little bit bigger.
Bigger, like a bigger bowl or...
Yeah, something with a bit of pizzazz. I don't know. You've got this.
You mean showstopper? Because it's the end of the show and I always do a big experiment. We can't... No, I don't know. I have an idea. There's something I've always wanted to try and I've never been allowed, but I'm not in the studio, so I potentially could do it. You get me the drain pipe that I was talking about earlier on for various reasons. You get the barbecue, bring it, and you bring the safety equipment. Yeah, cool.
This thing?
We shouldn't need it, hopefully.
While Phil is getting ready, agus tá cínta go mé gachard ionintach, I want to take this opportunity to celebrate all of the amazing teachers in the Moonsbury Iontacha. So I want you to turn to them now and give them a huge bowl of bus, because you guys are amazing. I also want to thank you guys for tuning in today, and we hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, if you want to find out more about the experiments we did today, all of the information is in the description below. And if you want to find out more about Science Week, head to scienceweek.ie. So, Phil, how are you getting on?
I'm getting on great. It's Science Week, and I know earlier on looked a little bit chaotic, but we have our stuff together. We're prepared. We have an experiment. We have a metal tube that has lots of holes drilled in it. I have an old swim cap that I've repurposed, a speaker that's going to play some music, and a pipe for some gas to go all the way through. Now, I am going to set this on fire. And what should happen is when the music goes through and sends that vibration through here, the flames should kind of move in a pattern with the music. So we're going to try that and see if it works. What could possibly go wrong? Now, I have my fire extinguisher. Do not try this at home. Try it in somebody else's home. Or actually don't. Just actually be careful. Adult supervision for all of this. Now, what I might do is just get the lights, please. Can't believe that worked. It's awesome. I'm going to put on my, look, pizzazz thing. I'm going to flip on the gas. And you ready? You ready for this? Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, I know. You're impressive. Are you ready to start the music?
Yeah!
3, 2, 1. Ah! It works! Look at this! It's Science Week. It's fun. We have dancing flames. Thanks for joining us. I think it's probably appropriate now is if we dance and celebrate. What do you think?
Yeah!
Everybody, join in the classroom. Let's go! I'm terrible. Mark, nice moves. Cool. Oh, Amy, that was great. I love it. Enjoy the rest of the week, guys. Happy science!